With the NBA draft lottery just a few weeks away, one lucky franchise will truly hit the lottery of a lifetime. The 7'4" basketball prodigy from France will draw all the attention after the NBA Finals. The incredible size and godlike skills makes every NBA lottery GM blush with their days getting closer. Consider a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent. The sky's the limit. It's not every draft you have somebody that looks like a unicorn, having God-given abilities and something we've never seen before. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. It's been exactly 20 long years since we've seen somebody as hyped up, matching the energy of a young LeBron James, a player with extraordinary physiques combined with skill, stature. Even if they were eligible for the draft the year before, they still be taking #1 overall without a question of a doubt. Ever since the game has gone global, everybody's waiting for the next Michael Jordan. Only a handful has lived up to the comparisons. Past the 3/4 mark of a full century, the National Basketball Association will continue having future stars to elevate the game to new heights. Unfortunately, being super hyped also leads to near impossible expectations, shoes too big to fill for many stars. Some of the most hyped prospects drafted between LeBron and Wemby unfortunately couldn't live up to those hype. Let's take a look at the unbelievable prospects drafted between 2004 to 2022 and how their careers went. Starting with Blake Griffin at 10, after 2 seasons at OU, the super athletic freak of nature power forward, the consensus first pick, drafted the same year as Steph Curry. At the time, even Golden State and literally every team would have taken Griffin first overall without any doubts. A can't-miss power forward, God-given athleticism, talented enough to becoming one of the game's greatest bigs, averaged 22 and 14. His sophomore year of college, the National Player of the Year, had the speed and quickness to truly become the face of the league, but numerous injuries derailed his greatness. Missed his true rookie season with a broken kneecap, but his early years had some of the nastiest dunks that'll make you fall off your chair. Average over 22 and 12 first full year, a special type talent, a case for the most athletic power forward from a leaping perspective between ages 21 to 25, an MVP candidate 2014, and the top 10 player discussion between 14 and 15 before all the injuries built up, regressed it after 2015. A reason why him and CP never advanced past the second round together, had one bounce back vintage 2019 season, carried a weak Detroit squad to the playoffs, improved handles, had a post game, promising playmaking, and a 3-point shot developed. But his athletic abilities heavily diminished, became a role player after age 29, a bench guy for the Nets and Celtics, borderline Hall of Famer. Blake had a scary ceiling, but sadly never reached his full prime with the injuries, super bad luck. Despite adapting and accepting newer roles, many had Griffin being a heavy MVP candidate after the 2015 playoffs for many years. Due to the lack of longevity, Griffin's name will be swept under the rug compared to his more elite draft mates still dominating at a high level in 2023. Number 9. Lonzo Ball out of UCLA, looking like a sad story. Will be out for over 2 years. Terrible knees, the one-and-done Chino Hills phenom with the help of LeVar. Lonzo literally the hottest topic in college ball, supposed to be a generational point guard, 6'6", elite playmaking, killer crossover, the type of guy who makes the right plays, makes all his teammates better. Despite Markelle Fultz being the first pick, didn't receive anywhere close to the attention Lonzo got, his pops making ridiculous statements like these.
You think he can be as good as Steph Curry in the NBA?
Heck no! He's gonna be better than Steph Curry in the NBA.
Made many feel some type of way. The two-way upside and the Jason Kidd-like comparisons, at worst, Zoe was a top 2 pick, although his talent might not have stood out like a Blake Griffin. Even Magic Johnson said Lonzo's jersey would be in the rafters one day. Team literally got rid of D'Angelo Russell, trusting Lonzo would be a better point guard. Made Summer League primetime basketball, winning MVP, but didn't turn out as good as expected. Struggled with the ugly looking jumper, traded in the AD sweepstakes. New Orleans got rid of him. His ceiling looking like a third option starting point guard. Many realized he wasn't going to be a superstar, but became a very good 3-and-D point guard. Improved heavily on the outside shot, a 22 and 13 record when healthy with the Bulls. Impossible to tell if he'll ever bounce back. Likely won't play until he's close to age 27. We can only pray he can last longer. Number 8. Derrick Rose, considered the most athletic point guard prospect ever. The Chicago native, elite quickness, super explosive athlete, can finish around the rim from all angles, easily the first pick over Michael Beasley, took his Memphis team to the title game, lived up to the hype and more, a total team player, easily Rookie of the Year, became an All-Star second season, the youngest MVP to win it at age 22, led his Bulls to a league best 62 wins. One of the biggest what-ifs, the torn ACL meniscus tear, one of the saddest moments in NBA history, robbed him of a decade of greatness, never became an all-star after his 4th season, nearly out the league but reinvented himself as a great locker room vet off the bench, still in the NBA today, age 34 with New York, speaks volume about his dedication, taking care of himself, having the respect amongst his peers around the league. Number 7, Kevin Durant, the most anticipated number 2 pick of this generation. Good enough to go number 1 in more than 80% of other drafts, had a knack of putting the ball in the basket, first freshman to ever win Naismith Player of the Year, averaged an easy 26 and 11 for Texas, but many were extremely concerned about his skinny frame, talks he couldn't even bench 185 pounds, but the scouting reports had him a clear perennial top scorer in the league. Everybody knew he was a walking bucket and averaged in the high 20s for years, a hybrid of Tracy McGrady and Dirk Nowitzki with T-Mac's athleticism and closer to Dirk's height. Durant turned out to be everything you expected and more, became a 25-point scorer by year 2, youngest scoring champ at 21, 13-time All-Stars and counting, won an MVP, one of the 3 best players in the league for a good decade, won 4 scoring titles, will be remembered as a top 13 player all time at least, can climb even further, perhaps top 10 discussion, unstoppable bucket getter. Given the previous 3 number 1 picks in Anthony Edwards, Kate Cunningham, and Paolo Banchero, 18-year-old KD would have blown them out of the water as a number 1 pick, wouldn't even be a discussion. Number 6, the pathetic Ben Simmons, a mental breakdown of a career after the Atlanta series. The 6'10" point forward, labeled the next LeBron Magic Johnson type star, insane passing, high IQ, made everybody around him better, had the physical tools, the talent all-time high, but questionable motor, lacked competitiveness, questionable character as a basketball player, plus his lack of jump shot a concern, but simply not concerning enough to stop him from getting drafted first overall. Despite a minor debate between Simmons and Ingram, none of the mock draft had BI going first. It was considered the Ben Simmons draft, even though he failed to make the tournament and quit on LSU. Realistically, all 30 teams would have taken Ben first overall, knowing he already had an NBA body, easily the most upside, supposed to be a 24, 11, and 10 guy with elite defense. Now it takes him 5 games to reach those scoring numbers. Was considered the most complete player, easily talked about going first overall before even playing a single college game, missed his entire first season, then ended up winning Rookie of the Year, 3 All-Stars with Philly after his first full season. Colin Cowherd said this about Simmons.
But for the first time in 10 to 12 years, I look at the NBA, which I've watched for 4 decades, and I say this now with Ben Simmons. Hey, LeBron, we're good, bro. You can go. You don't have to. You can hang around. Still great, but you can go.
His defense became elite but continued to lack aggression, never improved on his lack of jumper, still refuses to shoot threes after getting that max extension. Simmons didn't give a damn to take his game to the next level, never addressed his flaws, only getting more embarrassed. 2021 playoffs left him mentally unstable, complains about being hurt all the time, looking like one of the biggest wasted talents who truly never loved the game in the first place, supposed to be in the top 5 player discussion by now, but sadly no longer top 50, an absolute travesty. Number 5, Andrew Wiggins. Considered to be the best prospect since LeBron, Wiggins would have went first overall if he was eligible out of high school over the pathetic Anthony Bennett. Nobody even talked about the 2013 draft at the time when Wiggs was in high school, the insane hoop mixtape, godlike athleticism, 6'7" small forward, 44-inch vertical, literally nicknamed Maple Jordan, guaranteed to be a superstar. Him and Jabari Parker are supposed to be the next LeBron vs Melo rivalry, with Wiggins more like LeBron, Jabari more like Melo. When social media got more popular at the right time, some of Wiggins' hype did die down after an underwhelming season at Kansas, but still good enough at number 1, had a lot of physical gifts, Despite all the backlash, proved to the world good enough as the number 2 on a title team but lacks motor at times. Before Golden State, many labeled him as a bust, but far from it now. Not a main guy on an elite team, doesn't have the best jump shot, will never live up to the insane hype, but the one-time All-Star, now 28 years old, pretty much a finished product, brought into Golden State system, excelled on defense, using his quickness to guard other wings and crashes the glass, a free safety type for a Steph Curry-led team. Number 4, John Wall. Insane speed, quickness, agility, plus being at the height of the Hoop mixtape era. The next great point guard listed 6'5", given the success of D Rose, but the high ceiling on D, blocking shots, hopping into passing lanes. Wall had no weaknesses on the other side of the ball. The quickest first step, lightning fast in transition, even had a song named after him. If he were great enough to ever lead a team to a future title, that song would be played instantly afterwards in the arena. That was the level of hype Wall was getting before playing its single NBA game. A signature dance, a signature shoes, a walking 10 assist guy, the most perfect complete point guard prospect in a long time. Despite a lousy jumper, the body control Derrick Rose-esque, fearless attacker, great length, a virtual lock in a relatively weak class as number 1, but Wall's career underwhelming overall. The 5-time All-Star's prime cut short due to a variety of injuries, just like Blake Griffin. Wall at his best averaged over 23 points, 10 assists, All-NBA third team for 2017, led Washington to his best season since the 70s, but never passed the second round, nor had a 50-win season. After the Supermax extension, became a shell of himself, will now be more remembered for the egregious contract than his hype. His career numbers not bad at all, but super underachieving, likely not a Hall of Famer. Now a free agent, who knows if he will be signed again. Number 3, Zion Williamson. Super injury prone, simply cannot stay healthy for a long time even when he feels fine. The weight gains concerning at age 22, a massive issue. A prodigy cheat code since his early high school days, the insane dunks at age 14, more social media highlights way before the NBA than actual real NBA highlights. First 4 seasons, 114 total games out of a possible 308. Distractions, negative headlines, outside noise, his lack of hunger for the game, similar to Ben Simmons. At one point, Zion was the third most talked about basketball player on the planet, behind LeBron and Steph. Now not even top 20 most mentioned in the league today, weighing over 290 and having superhuman athleticism, bulldoze inside. The hype included a lot of skepticism because of the big body. The league never seen a prospect as physically gifted. Drew comparisons to Charles Barkley, Shawn Kemp, and Larry Johnson. Every Duke game, appointment television, got more coverage than over 25 other NBA teams. Due to his extraordinary large body frame, more athletic than most point guards, the upside all-time great potential. If he worked on his mid-range jumper with world-class leaping agility, all the physical tools to bully anybody who stood his way, the consensus first overall pick likely wouldn't even go top 5 right now. All the concerns turned out to be true. One of the most insane one-and-dones college hoops has ever seen, shot it well at Duke, can facilitate, simply one of a kind. But now seeing his delayed healing after these injuries, many question whether Williamson already halfway into his NBA career if his body continues to fail him. Number 2, Greg Oden. The saddest downfall as the number 1 pick this century, the 7-foot monster drew comparisons to the likes of Bill Russell and Tim Duncan, anticipated to be the next great center, even bigger than Shaq in college, an absolute specimen, already looked like a 20-year NBA vet coming into the 07 draft, old enough to be Kevin Durant's father, led his team to the national title game, freshmen going up against upperclassmen. Florida had 5 guys 6'9" and up, and freshman Oden absolutely destroyed both Al Horford and Joakim Noah, going for 25 points. Likely 28 of the 30 teams would have selected Oden above Durant. His defense had all-time great ceiling, easily the second most anticipated prospect of the 2000s behind LeBron, a taller version of Dwight Howard with better post-game, quicker than Durant at the combine drills, but his knees broke down, painfully missed his entire rookie season, had back issues, ankle problems, just 105 total games. Many believe Oden would be a career 22-12 guy with 3 blocks had his body held up. Now works as director of B-ball operations for Butler's men's team. Number 1, Anthony Davis, the Kentucky prodigy, easily up there with Oden, a strong argument for both being the most hyped pick since LeBron. Easily the most consensus first pick since James, so dominant, made college teammate Michael Kidd-Gilchrist look so good, was drafted number 2, literally no other name even close to the number 1 discussion, and MKG likely wouldn't even go top 10 had he not played with Davis. The moment AD stepped foot on the court was a man amongst boys. By far the best interior defender the NCAA has seen this century. The high school 8-inch growth spurt after playing some point, a flawless transition from a guard to a big, dominated college with his insane defense, the long arms, averaged over 14 points, 10 rebounds, nearly 5 blocks, labeled as the next KG, having Tim Duncan-like abilities, the total package, led Kentucky to a national title, considered the best college team the last 30 years, even before playing a single NBA game. Davis invited to Team USA, full of NBA superstars, winning the gold medal 2012, as fluid as any big man prospect we've seen, covers lots of space, overall lived up to his hype despite having a fragile body, gets hurt a lot, mostly minor injuries, already a top 75 player all time before turning 30, doesn't have as many accolades due to the many missed games, 11 seasons into the league, career numbers of 24 points, over 10 rebounds, 2.3 blocks, looks like a top 5 player some nights, other nights very pedestrian-like, unpredictable, but when he's on, truly unstoppable, averaged 28 and 10 as a second option for a title team. Haters can criticize about his softness all they want, but Davis absolutely lived up to the hype. If he wasn't banged up all the damn time, would be in the Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis conversation. Other top prospects, Luka Doncic at 11, truly the most hyped international player, still an absolute travesty. He was passed up multiple times, now one of the league's best players. 12, Karl Anthony Towns, best prospect for his class, but nowhere near the same hype of Davis and Zion, a perfect modern 5 but still bad tendencies. 13, Jabari Parker, a sad downfall, multiple ACL tears, just 310 career games, became an absolute shell of himself, out the league by 26. Kyrie Irving at 14, only since he barely played for Duke, very little footage, but every time he played was a can't miss prospect. 15, Ricky Rubio, viewed as Chris Paul caliber, played pro ball at age 14, but became just an average role player, disappointing to say the least. Michael Beasley, natural bucket getter, a season at Kansas State, but laziness never allowed him to reach his game to another level. 17, DeAndre Ayton, physical specimen out of Arizona, underwhelming and lacks effort despite having the physical gifts. 18, Dwight Howard out of high school, OJ Mayo at 19, had a lot of hype but undisciplined, peaked as a rookie. 20, Joel Embiid, made heavy noise in college, looked at as the number 1 pick but had injury concerns, a broken foot. Thanks so much for watching this video. Which one of these prospects were you absolutely wrong about? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time.